What's up, dudes and dudettes of the internet? My name's Seth, and today we're going to be taking a look at Conarium, which is a puzzle game, 110% all the way through. You can actually beat this game in 2 to 3 hours, depending. It's very, very atmospheric, but there's rarely a time where you're ever going to end up actually fighting anything. Escaping from creatures every now and then, but again, for the most part, you're just going to be exploring the environment and trying to solve puzzles in the environment. There's also going to be a bunch of secrets around as well. So this is going to be based on the Lovecraft mythos, which is like Cthulhu monsters and creatures and craziness and stuff like that. This game, in a lot of ways, actually reminds me of a game that I played on my channel a very long time ago called, what was it, Call of Cthulhu? I think that's what it was, which is actually one of my favorite games that was like this. And this game manages to flawlessly carry that same type of atmosphere while not necessarily leading to the same type of conclusion. The ending and a lot of this game is very, very cryptic, and honestly doesn't really make that much sense for people that aren't fans of H.P. Lovecraft stuff. But also, just because of the fact that I did end up playing that other Call of Cthulhu game, I did have a much better understanding as to the environment and how the story ended up going and stuff like that. Same with Eldritch. That's another game that I played on my channel that was also in the Cthulhu universe, and that one was more just dungeon crawling and stuff like that. Oh, dude, what happened to your eyes? But the whole point of that story, you know, in the Eldritch anyways, it made me think about how in this game, the beginning, we actually start in a facility that's way up north in the Snowlands, right? So the game has some really, really freaky tones, you know, and really cool environment, lots and lots of secrets to discover, and lots of them being worthwhile to discover because they're going to end up being like a unique area to explore that might add a little bit more to the story or the environments and stuff, right? So this thing right here, I think this is the Conarium.
The pain is subsiding. I thought my head was about to explode.
And for some reason, our main character, his talking is quieter than everybody else's. I don't know why. But this is the Conarium, which I don't know if it's necessarily a spoiler, but our character ended up kind of creating it with a different doctor. And it's like together they kind of ended up making this item that could let them travel into lost memories or another dimension or something like that. Okay, let me just take that along with us for the ride. How do we, there we go, turn it on. As I said, there are definitely some elements of the game that are very scary. Kind of a bit of a horror behind it. So we could end up going down that way, but we're just going to make a beeline straight for the right direction, just so I can kind of show you a little bit of the gameplay here before we get, you know, before the video is already over. But you can see auxiliary power needs to be enabled manually from outside, so that's kind of our main indicator that we're not supposed to be in here. We gotta get out of here. And you could see on the ground too, there was a little bit of snowy footprints and stuff. The game does a pretty good job holding your hand overall, I would say, until you end up getting to the later puzzles. There are definitely some moments where, even though it's really, really cool and it's kind of nice to discover the puzzles for yourself, like, I kind of ended up going through this game very, very slowly, taking my sweet time with it. Was considering doing like a full walkthrough of the game just because some of the areas were that cryptic. Like, there was some areas where it took me like maybe a good 20-30 minutes until I finally ended up just giving up looking online and finding out that the solution to the puzzle was not necessarily complex. It was just that I didn't understand the method of which I was supposed to have applied to the puzzle itself, right? Force your way through. Like, even this doorway, for example, that could have given people trouble. Because maybe you're going through here and maybe you don't fully understand, like, oh, you know, did the door even move the first time I went through it? I think we might actually need a couple different items around here. I'm not sure where the other ones are, though, because I know that we definitely need to have, like, scissors or something, right? I'm not exactly sure. I kind of remember, but I kind of don't at the same time. It's been a while, you know, it's been a couple weeks since I played this. But we take the gas tank right there, and then, oh, we just duct tape it all the way up. There we go. So that just filled it up. The jerry can. And then we plop that back in. This is going to give us power, and then that's when things start getting really freaky and cool at the same time, dude. Are these on now? There we go. Yes. The power. It also reminds me of... there was another game that was kind of very similar to this one. Sorry to say I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but it involved you kind of going into the ocean and exploring the environment in that regard and kind of underwater and stuff. Also has some similar tones to Alien Isolation, more so the exploration and atmosphere about it, rather than just straight up the gameplay. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting I could sprint. That's right. So I'm going to run all the way back here, and then we're going to have... our first encounter, let's call it. But the game itself, you know, it takes you to all sorts of different environments, very alien areas, and again, does a pretty good job with the whole problem-solving thing, right? Because it kind of has you, like, going into these specific areas, and it's like, oh, interact with, like, everything around here so that you can end up doing... this and that. Oh my. Okay, that's right. So we've got crew rooms. Oh, this is where it starts getting a little bit confusing for me, but I think that's not the one. So the cool thing about the game at the beginning is that you actually can interact with almost everything. Like, there's lots of things around in the environment that you can kind of just mess with that might end up having, like, certain items or, like, documents or, like, Easter eggs and stuff like that, right? But for the most part, once you end up getting out of this area, that's kind of the thing, is then suddenly there is a lot less for you to actually mess around with and explore. One thing that is pretty neat is as you're kind of going through the game, and maybe it's a bit of a spoiler to say we kind of travel through dimensions, but like I said, the Conarium or whatever, that's its whole purpose. And because of it, we kind of end up coming back to this hub area. So you kind of end up coming back here periodically as you go further in the game, and maybe you'll end up getting a key that will give you access to a new room that ends up giving you a new item, right? So this right here is actually one of the Easter eggs, because I think we have to... where are the things? There we go. Can we interact with that? Maybe we can only... well, we'll take that anyways. I don't know what that crane is necessarily for. You can interact with this somehow. I don't quite remember how you actually do that, though, because you need to be able to... oh, maybe that's it. Just turn on the power? Yep, there we go. So then we gotta sync up our signal with the other one that's going on right now. So let's try and see. That's definitely it. And then we go down to stretch it out. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Did that do it? Can we now open this thing and see the real weirdness? Oh. Okay. That's kind of weird. So we got them synced up now. I'm really not exactly sure what's going on here. There we go. That did it. Okay, so that adjusted them now. Maybe I didn't do it properly. Yeah, there we go. So I just wanted to see this Easter egg more particularly, just to kind of show you the freaky environment that this game ends up having. Because this is a weird robot. And when we talk with it, it gets even weirder. Man, it's scary. Like, look at that thing, and it's got the whole third eye going on. Hello. I am you, I think.
I'm Frank. Frank Gilman.
Is that so?
Is there a problem with that?
That's a weird question to ask a robot.
My name is Frank Gilman, an anthropologist joining this expedition upon the invitation by Venerable Dr. Faust himself.
You see, so...
This thing is claiming that it's me. That's absurd. Why?
Yes, just that. Although you might not have been able to actually hear what he was saying. But yeah, this thing thinks that it's our character. And overall, there's just so many weird little things that you can end up coming across. There'll be like a cat that might have a silhouette shadow where it starts turning into a weird tentacle monster. And then it turns out that it's just kind of in your guy's head. And that's one of the things that I think is so cool and important about these Lovecraft types of games that are messing around with the mythos, is that it kind of tries to blur the line line between what is insanity and what is real and justified in that insanity. You know, that's kind of the thing that I find personally so interesting, and why I love the whole Cthulhu thing, because it's all about your character going through madness, you know, and then trying to kind of figure out whether or not the reason for the madness is actually real, you know, because it's just such a very interesting concept. I absolutely love it. So unfortunately, that's all the time we're going to be spending on this game today, folks, because while, like I said, I thought about doing a full-on walkthrough, at the same time, I think that this game is definitely worth it. Again, remember that it's short, but if you want to play through this game yourself and kind of see the adventure and see the whole story and stuff, I don't want to lead to too many spoilers. I want to be able to let you all experience it for yourself. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Very much appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe for more daily content. Links will be in the description for everything about this game. Sayonara, and stay epic.